Hey, this is Kit Palmer, the editor of Cycle News Magazine, and I've recently returned from Moab, Utah, where Honda introduced its all-new CRF 1000L Africa Twin to the press for the first time on U.S. soil. The Africa Twin is not exactly an all-new model from Honda, but it is to us. Other parts of the world has had the Africa Twin in some form or another, but the U.S. hasn't seen anything like this, an adventure-type motorcycle from Honda, since the Transalp in the early 1990s. But the Africa Twin is pretty much new to everyone. That's because it's new from the ground up. It features a 998cc 8-valve parallel twin unicam engine that is carried in a steel semi-double cradle frame, and it's fitted with a fully adjustable suspension system. The Africa Twin is available in two versions, manual and DCT. Manual meaning with a traditional foot shifting transmission, and DCT meaning, in a nutshell, an automatic transmission. DCT stands for Honda's dual clutch transmission, which gives you the option of manually shifting or basically no shifting. That's when you let the DC tranny do all the work for you. Even in manual though, there is still no clutch lever or foot shift lever to operate. Just two small triggers or flippers on the left handlebar that you upshift and downshift using your thumb and forefinger. Still, it's not a traditional way of shifting a motorcycle, but it does give you the option of doing it yourself. Both versions feature torque control, which is just another name for traction control, and the DCT model also has S mode or sport mode. There are three mode levels to choose from, each one altering when shifting takes place. Level 1, least aggressive, to level 3, most aggressive. The DCT model also features on and off-road modes, including G mode or gravel mode, which when activated noticeably smooths out initial on-off throttle response, which is really beneficial when riding at parking lot speeds and over gravel. That's when the rear wheel has a tendency to slip or spin when you open and close the throttle. Off-road mode is basically all manual mode. Both models features ABS braking. They can be turned off, but only at the rear wheel, not the front. This is a first for Honda, and one we really like, especially when the bike is being ridden off-road. This gives you the ability to lock the rear wheel at will, which can at times help you make the bike turn better. The Africa Twin is a blast to ride, both on and off-road. It's a very comfortable motorcycle in the seat, which is just 34 inches above the ground, which made it easy for me to plant both my feet firmly on the ground. There is also the ability to lower the seat by almost a full inch, but with my 6-foot 1-inch frame, I never really felt the need to do that. The engine makes plenty of power and is delivered very smoothly and with very little vibration, which adds to the bike's overall comfort. It has good torque and bottom end, and with the manual transmission twin, it's easy to loft the front end with the aid of the clutch and with torque control switched off. In the higher RPM range, the Africa Twin certainly feels fast, and the growl from the parallel twin's exhaust system is very inspiring, if you know what I mean. This bike really sounds good when you ring it out. Both the manual and DCT Africa Twins are fun to ride. I like the DCT mainly because it's just different, and I could see how it would be an advantage during a long ride because it does reduce the workload a bit and could postpone fatigue. And you can just plain mix things up a bit with the manual flipper shifting, just in case you get bored in those long sections of road. It just gives you something else to do. For most riding, however, I usually found myself riding the DCT bike in the most aggressive mode in sport mode, and with the least amount of intervention from the torque control, or just plain turned off. For the street, I actually preferred the most intervention, or middle level of torque control. Gravel mode is very handy for those low speed situations, especially on loose dirt. The DCT also has something called hill detection, which automatically alters shift points for going up or down steep hills. I preferred the manual Africa Twin off-road. I'm an off-road guy who needs a clutch lever for instant spurts of power when the trail gets technical, but some journalists I spoke to actually preferred the DCT model over the manual on the dirt. So this just might be a matter of personal preference. I did, however, notice the extra weight of the DCT model. It's about 30 pounds heavier than the manual bike. After all, it does have two clutches. But what probably impressed me the most about the Africa Twin was its suspension, which worked great both on and off-road. Potholes seemingly disappeared on the pavement, and the bike really soaked things up nicely on the dirt. It took a lot before either end would bottom, and if either one of them did, it wasn't a painful experience. Also, the bike has excellent ground clearance. I don't think I ever felt the skid plate or the foot pegs kiss the ground when landing off a jump or hitting a big G out. I'm glad Honda put 21 and 18-inch rear wheels on the bike. It gave it a more dirt bike feel. It should be noted that the bikes we rode were fitted with Continental Twin Enduro TKC 80 semi-knobby dual sport tires for our day in the dirt. It comes stock with more pavement-friendly Dunlop Trailmax D610 street tires. Even though the Africa Twin is heavy compared to standard dirt bikes, it doesn't feel too cumbersome on the trail, but it does demand some respect. After all, it is a 500+ pound motorcycle. Luckily, I found it to be very forgiving considering its size and weight. The bike comes with handguards, which is a great touch. Honda didn't get too carried away with the gas tank. It still holds plenty at 4.9 gallons, as isn't too bulky between your legs. Overall, I absolutely loved riding the Africa Twin. I found it to be super comfortable on the pavement and, for its size, an extremely capable motorcycle for some serious off-road riding. I could easily see myself doing some serious adventure riding on this motorcycle, as well as everyday commuting.